Hello, everybody. What's going on? This is the Beer Pong Canada show, and welcome in. Welcome to the show. What is Beer Pong Canada? Well, clearly the show is just me so far, and I am Mark. I created Beer Pong Canada. Beer Pong Canada is just a brand that I throw competitive beer pong tournaments under, and I've also been working on creating an e-commerce store around different beer pong products and partying products and maybe just like random other things too. I'm not too sure what else I want to do, but it's the sport I'm really passionate about. I love playing beer pong. Always have been, as many people are. And so yeah, this is just the show about how Beer Pong Canada came to be, and it's going to be kind of documenting my journey with trying to grow this brand into a national brand. So the first kind of format of this show is that this episode that you're listening to right now, this is going to be like the first episode. I'm going to kind of wind it back, start at the beginning of where the brand came from and like how I kind of started it, and some things I did along the way. And then I'm eventually going to get caught up after a couple episodes to like where I am today, which is Halifax, which is awesome, by the way. If you guys live in Toronto or something like that, or Vancouver, and you're looking for like a different city to get out of, like especially with the prices of rent and just living, Halifax is like an amazing place to be. I'll tell you that much. So, anyways, this is the show. So I'm I'm Mark again. I already said that. I am currently 26. I am your standard like upper middle class white boy, I guess. And I created the Beer Pong Canada brand, which seems very stereotypical that like your typical average frat boy created a beer pong brand, but yeah, that's what it is. So, I mean, I'm every frat boy's dream, I guess, which doesn't sound very good, but I'm going to go with that. Okay, so welcome to episode 1, where we're going to wind you back and talk about the beginnings of the brand. Okay, so the Beer Pong Canada brand, it started when I was in Hamilton. So I was going to school at McMaster University, which is a sweet school, very, very awesome campus too. It was a school I went to, and I went into engineering, and that I had no idea why I wanted to go into engineering at all. It was basically just like my default option. I wanted to go into kinesiology, but my mom was like, no, you can't go into kinesiology because nobody can get a job with kinesiology, is basically what she said. Which is kind of ironic because she went into kinesiology, but wouldn't let me follow in her footsteps. Whatever. That's how it is. So I decided to go to my mom's school for my dad's program because I was fucking 17. Like, I had no clue what the hell to do. I think it's pretty stupid, actually, that people decide to go to university for things. Like, when I was looking back on it, like, I really had no fucking idea what there was as far as like programs or jobs went. I remember like I didn't even know university existed until I was like in grade 10 when the classes started splitting up. You guys remember when they like it started being, there was like academic and some other program, academic and like applied, and then after grade 10 it switched to like university and college as like the levels of like classes you could take. And when the classes switched, that's what made me realize that there was like something I'd had or people do after high school. Like, I really had no idea that there was anything after high school until that happened. So I mean, long story short, I had no clue what I wanted to do. And it was really stupid that I got to choose what I wanted to do. Well, I got to choose. Couldn't do kinesiology, but whatever. Yeah, so that was what I did. I decided to just follow kind of in my mom's and dad's footsteps and go to my mom's school, which was McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario. And that's up in Canada for anyone listening outside of Canada. And I went for my dad's program, engineering, which lasted all of about 3 months, I think, until I dropped out of engineering. And I decided to I switched to environmental science. And my thinking at the time was that I'm not going to be able to get good enough grades. And, well, I was also failing engineering too, so that didn't really help. But I was also thinking, I'm like, I kind of want to go get my MBA afterwards, and I'm not going to get those good enough grades to get into any MBA program without with being in engineering. So I was like, I gotta switch programs. I thought environmental science was like kind of cool and easier, so I switched into that. Turns out it was a hell of a lot easier than engineering, and I did very well in it. So managed to pass everything with that. I don't think I failed any more classes after I switched, but I can't really remember. I might have failed like one or two more. I was really not good at chemistry. The chemistry was all bull in university. And so when I was in university, as like so many other typical people do, is they play a fuck ton of beer pong. So I played a lot of beer pong, especially when we got like really competitive and moved into houses as well with like my roommates and my friends. So some of like the really big guys that I was in with was Forbes and Chris as well, and those two guys were like pretty good at beer pong. Chris was like not so much because like he was really out of it at times, and he would just be like, I don't even know what he was thinking about, to be honest. He looked like he was like, his head was out in space, and he'd just be like, yeah, okay, I'll shoot. And but Forbes is just like probably top 3 best beer pong players I've ever seen play. I think he has a lot of talent. He's a golfer. He's like a pro-am golfer right now for Canada. So I'm probably not even saying it right, but yeah, he's like kind of amateur-ish level, trying to make it bigger in golfing. So he's got like, as far as like aiming small balls into small places, Forbes, he does that well. So he does it very well. I loved playing beer pong. I was never like extraordinarily good at it. I would say I was like always above average, but like I was never at the level that like Forbes was at. And so but I loved like the entire competitive aspect of it, especially like a lot of people who go into university like stop doing anything competitive when they used to do competitive things in high school. So I just like picked up beer pong as like my competitive thing, and then I played like intramural soccer, which I was competitive in as well. But beer pong was definitely like the most competitive I was in. And so then I decided to start like throwing tournaments. So we would throw tournaments at our houses that we would rent. So we threw a few tournaments with like just friends. Then we threw like bigger like kegger tournaments as well too. And those were like really, really fun to do. And that's when I kind of started building the idea of taking beer pong, which is something that it's played by like millions of people all across Canada, and like more millions in the US, and even all around the world really, and trying to turn it into like more of a competitive sport. Because I mean, the main thing I was thinking about was that like people fucking watch darts on TV and like just get drunk and like cheer for the people playing darts, and like darts is stupid. Darts is like really fucking stupid. I've semi-watched darts before, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. The math is just way too complex. Like adding 301 to like plus 36. Like, how the fuck are you gonna do that? I don't know. In beer pong's super easy. You don't need to do any math. You just need to look at the cups and say, oh, those guys are winning. So that was always why I kind of thought there should be a brand and a competitive organization that really like grows it as a sport. And so that's where the brand of Beer Pong Canada idea came from. And then I started just fiddling around with illegal versions of Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop, and I made the Canadian leaf that with the beer pong player in it. So I was the first person to create that, which is pretty cool. And I think a few people copied my brand, which I'm like kind of pissed off about, but also whatever, I don't really care. And so yeah, then the first thing I did with that was, did I make a website? I think I might have made a website. Yeah, I think I made a website for it. I think it was called like Pong Canada at the time because I couldn't get Beer Pong Canada. Newsflash though, fast forward 4 a lot more years later, I do now have the website beerpongcanada.ca and .com, which is sweet. Like I was super pumped about getting that. But yeah, at the time I think it was on pongcanada.com or .ca, and I decided my first thing I would do is I contacted like some people over in Asia that made drawstring bags, and I just got them to print out my logo on drawstring bags and like just type Beer Pong Canada underneath it. And I was like, yeah, I'll just order a shit ton of these and then sell these. I was also broke because I was in university, So, but I ended up like my brother and I split. I think it was cost like us $500, and we got maybe like I don't know 200 of them, maybe 200 bags, 200 Beer Pong Canada bags. And I tried selling them, and I sold maybe about like 50-ish of them, I think, over time. And then, so long story short, and I was only selling them for like, I think like $10 a piece. So I wasn't really making much money on them. And then I also wasn't selling them either. So it's like, didn't really do much. It was basically just a sunk cost for me. But what I did do is I started giving them out as like entry prizes for the competitive tournaments that I would throw. So that was a lot of fun. And so like I would just give everyone who came in, and you would get a Beer Pong Canada drawstring bag, which by the way, they're pretty cool drawstring bags. I don't have one around me right now, but yeah. And then I also like gave them out to a bunch of my friends too, as I was like moving around, because I moved across the country a bunch. And so that's like the first product that I officially have, which I still have them, by the way, too, because I have 200 of them. I sold 50. I gave like maybe 50 away, and then I gave like maybe another like 50 away too. And so now I'm like left with like maybe about 50 left. And this is like, when did I order them? I ordered them in like 2012, and it's 2019 right now. So like 7 years later. So that was a good ROI on that. So yeah, that was the first product that I did. And yeah, we threw a few tournaments throughout the different places we lived in. I started like an Instagram account and a Facebook account when I was in university. Posted on it a little bit, and then I was really just like, I mean, I was in university. I was just like drinking a fuck ton and getting drunk with my roommates like all the time. So I wasn't really like doing much as like far as a business and like working on the business went. So yeah, that's about it for me, I think, for this first episode, because that's kind of like chapter 1, which is the creation of the brand, where it came from. So those are the origin stories of it. I guess it started, yeah, back in like 2010 was the first year. So we're in our 9th year now. And by we, I mean basically just me. But I've had people, and I still have people that like kind of help me out along the way too. So it's essentially just me. But yeah, so this is kind of like episode 1 of chapter 1, sorry, of the origins of Beer Pong Canada. So yeah, next time I'm filming, I'm gonna go and talk about I guess phase 2 or chapter 2, which is when I moved from right after university. I think I had like 3 days off of university, and I went home, like basically unloaded my stuff from Hamilton, went back home, dropped it all off, packed up the car, and I drove out west to Calgary, where I had my first job. And so that would be chapter 2, which I will get into in the next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing a little bit about the foundations of Beer Pong Canada and where it came from. And I hope you guys are going to watch more of the Beer Pong Canada show, because it's going to, I don't know, it's going to kill some fucking time for you. Yeah. So anyways, that's it for this episode. I will talk to everybody next time. If you're not, follow me on Instagram at Beer Pong Canada, I think is the name. Let me just look that up real quick. I think it is at Beer Pong Canada. And yeah, it's at Beer Pong Canada. So follow me at Beer Pong Canada. And if you haven't checked out the website, beerpongcanada.ca. All right. Peace, everybody. See you next time.